Hello, it's Alan here from KTN, and very pleased to say today we're joined by Alicia, KTN's Chief Executive. It's been a couple of weeks now since the UK government introduced the lockdown measures in response to COVID-19, so we thought we would just reflect on what we've seen over the past few weeks and get the thoughts of our CEO. So Alicia, thank you very much for joining us. What's your reaction been to what we've seen over the past few weeks?
Thank you, Alan. I think, well, I know I've had a mix of reactions. It's been such a challenging time for everybody in so many ways. And a reaction that many of us have had is of worry and fear. I think mainly of the unknown as well. We've also seen such a massive disruption to people's lives, both emotionally and practically, and such a big impact on the economy and our businesses. So that's all created lots of emotion and reaction and worry in its entirety. But on the other side, it's just been truly inspiring to see how many people are working together to keep the country going. We've seen so many acts of kindness and people coming together in creative ways to support their communities, and that has been so inspiring for myself and I think for everybody to see. And it's been really amazing to see the great work of the NHS and our other frontline services working so hard when it's such a challenging time for everyone. But for me personally, I've been so proud of all our colleagues across KTN on how everybody's dealt with this crisis, both in terms of using our skills and our knowledge to help tackle COVID-19 itself, but also finding really creative ways in supporting colleagues throughout the organisation. And that, on the other side of the coin, has just been such a fantastic, positive thing to see.
So turning our attention to work, what do you see as KTN's main role in the context of this crisis, and how have we responded and adapted?
Yes, so we knew at KTN, as I think is the case with every organisation, that we wanted to make sure that we acted really quickly to help be part of the solution to COVID-19. And at the heart of what we do at KTN is connecting for change. And we wanted to use all the expertise that we have in the organisation and those connections to help in any way that we can. And we've done that in a number of ways. Firstly, we've been tackling some of the really immediate rapid response challenges. For example, working with Innovate UK and the Formula One team to help source suppliers for ventilator production. And we're continuing to do this type of rapid response work to help where we can add most value. And there's a number of those challenges coming up all the time. But we also wanted to look at the longer term challenges and work together with partners on the emerging questions that are coming from the crisis. And there's several of those. For example, how do we ensure that we get food on our tables? And we're looking at agri-tech solutions to that. How do we find creative ways on providing mental health support to those that really need it when we can't have direct contact? And how do we ensure that we get a vaccine developed as soon as possible? There are lots of big questions like that that we're working on with partners. And then on a more practical level, within hours of moving all our staff to working from home, I mean, this really was fast. We had an urgent challenge of switching all of our events online. And at KTN, a core part of our work is around connecting people and connecting businesses. So we had to be really quick to work out ways to do this in new ways. And we've had some great feedback. So I'd like to thank all of our team for being so responsive and creative, and also the partners and collaborators for their inputs. And then finally, another action that's been really important for us is that we're ensuring that we're providing information and guidance to the business community through our KTN COVID-19 Hub that's on the KTN website. So please take a look at that.
Thank you. Clearly an uncertain time for everybody, as we've said. And you mentioned stories of kindness and of the ways that businesses are adapting, innovating to find solutions. And what's really impressed you with how the business community has responded?
So I think this has been one of the really very special aspects to emerge from this crisis. Businesses have not only been creative to survive, they've also been really creative to be kind and to help save lives. And to see that is a truly heartwarming experience. And we've seen innovation at a level and a speed that we could not have imagined only a few weeks ago. And even though many businesses have had their own worries themselves related to the crisis, how do they survive? They've also been caring and supporting their own communities in some really amazing ways. And it's not just been the big companies that have been helping. We've seen some great examples of the big companies doing that. It's also the smaller companies who've been really nimble and creative. And we've seen lots of examples, for like hotels giving rooms to homeless people, restaurants making meals for NHS staff. And we've also seen businesses adapt to make entirely new products. For example, breweries who are making sanitizers and textile companies making protective clothing. There was a lovely example in Northern Ireland of a company called Block Blinds. They normally make blinds, and they've completely adapted their whole product line to create protective face shields to help those on the front line. And I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, we couldn't have imagined this change happening. We could not have imagined how many businesses would show such kindness and community spirit, and that is really great to see.
Thank you. Just finally, I'm sure we will all look forward to a time when this is all over. And when that happens, what lessons do you think we will have learned, both KTN and perhaps society more widely?
So really importantly, we will have learned the power of collaboration and working together. In a crisis like this, we've all pulled together, we've had to work together, and at KTN, we're all about connecting people and about collaboration. And even though a crisis like this is such a terrible, terrible thing, it's also made us see the power of true collaboration and the massive positive impact that it can have. I'd say that's the top thing. We've also learned as well that we don't always need face-to-face contact. At KTN, at the heart of what we do, it's all about building connections, and we really understand and value face-to-face interactions. But this crisis has made us at KTN and everyone do things differently. And over the last few weeks, we've had to build our connections remotely. We've had to do things in really different ways, and that's taught us a lot. For example, it's allowed us to reach people that sometimes we wouldn't, so be more diverse in our reach. And it's also allowed us to cut down on our emissions and travel less and think about creative ways to reach our own staff and our own organisation. So I think post COVID-19, there are lots of ways in which we will be improving the way that we do things in KTN, and I think more widely, not just in the UK but globally, in reaching out to new communities, but also reducing our carbon footprint and thinking much more carefully about how we travel. And then the last one I wanted to mention was, I feel this crisis has really empowered us to break rules. The crisis has made us all change what we do at a speed that we could have never imagined previously. And it's amazing how quickly we've all responded to this and changed the way that we do things in a much more creative and truly innovative spirit. And this rapid change has empowered us to break rules, I feel in many cases for the better. So overall, there's a lot that we can learn from this experience. And I think and hope that we can emerge from this really challenging time as a better and stronger society and a better and stronger KTN.
Well said. Alicia, thank you very, very much for joining us and for sharing your thoughts with us today. And that's all we've got time for today. So from Alicia and myself, we say thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you, Alan. Bye-bye.